Meowdy y'all, welcome back to another video. Concerned Ape puts in a ton of work into creating deeply nuanced and dimensional characters, and some of them, though flawed, aren't as bad as people make them out to be. In today's video, I'd like to do another character analysis on one of the most hated characters in Stardew Valley, Pierre. That's what we'll be discussing today, so buckle up. If you don't know me, I'm Sauter. I make Stardew Valley YouTube videos featuring Let's Plays, live streams, lore, theory crafting, and analyses, so if you've got any feedback or suggestions for the next video, feel free to leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button for more. With a little bit of research, I quickly found that Pierre is one of the most hated characters in Stardew Valley. In fact, there's even an entire subreddit dedicated to hating Pierre. By browsing internet discussions, I saw greedy, scummy, bad father, liar. Are all of these true? And if they are, is there some nuance to this character? Are there redeeming factors? Are there likable traits? Let's start with the biggest criticism about Pierre, that he's money hungry and greedy. Firstly, I can't deny this in the slightest, but maybe I can shine a different light. Pretty much as soon as you move in, Pierre is already trying to get you to come into his store and give him money. You can receive letters in the mail from him stating, "Dear neighbor, I hope you are feeling settled in your new home. I'm writing to let you know that Pierre's store is now selling fertilizers. Why don't you swing by and see if you can afford a few dozen boxes or so? Pierre." Advertisement. I keep finding cool stuff, but my backpack is full. Does this sound like you? Well, Pierre's got you covered. Stop by Pierre's general store today and check out our affordable size 24 backpack. See you soon. Farmer. It seems like you're starting to get close with some of the townspeople. If you want to show someone that you're romantically interested, you've got to give them one of my beautiful flower bouquets. I'm selling them now for a very fair price. If you want to start a family someday, this is the first step. Pierre. All of these letters can be received as early as the first month of living in Pelican Town. Sheesh, we get it. You want me to spend my money at your store. Speaking of, let's go check out his store and see if he's got any interesting letters. Investigate his kitchen and you'll find a letter that states, "To Mr. Pierre, it pains me to be the bearer of bad news, but I feel obligated to inform you of a recent development most threatening to your livelihood. Joja Co. has decided to expand into Pelican Town. It's too late for protests. Joja builders have already broken ground for the new Joja Mart. This must be devastating news for you. So many years in business, a local standby, and now obscured by the shadow of a powerful, efficient, economically viable corporation. What a shame. As manager of the new Joja Mart, I feel, to some degree, personally responsible for your predicament. As such, I'd like to offer you a position as assistant grocer. Wages start at 5 gold an hour. I look forward to seeing your resume. Mr. Morris, manager, Pelican Town Joja Mart." Wow. So I guess we're not the only ones that receive questionable letters in the mail. What a horrible letter to receive. Befriend Pierre a little bit, and his money-hungry habits start to make a little more sense. I really do appreciate your business, farmer. I've been having a harder and harder time turning a decent profit. Business has been slow since Joja moved into town. It's hard to compete with their selection. I'm happy to buy any produce off of you. I'll give you a fair price, of course. Sometimes I get new items in stock, so make sure to stop by every so often. It's a lot of work to run a shop. I've got those behind-the-counter blues. I wish I could go for a walk, but I can't leave the store unattended. I've heard the flowers are in bloom, and the air smells great. These are all dialogues that can be said within the first week of being in Pelican Town. Pierre isn't sounding money hungry to me. More so, desperate. Joja Mart is high competition for him, and it's not like he's getting that much business from the villagers. Get a little closer to Pierre, and his chipper salesman routine starts to fall off a little bit, exposing an exhausted and desperate business owner. When I was younger, I always had something interesting to do. Now I find myself just wasting time whenever I'm not at work. I'm so glad to have a day off work. If you choose to complete the community center, Pierre will say, "This is a dream come true. You can't begin to imagine how much stress Joja Mart was causing me. For a small town like this, one store is enough. There's too much social pressure for me to overcharge anyways." But if you choose to purchase the final Joja membership and go the Joja route, he'll say, "This is a sad day for Pelican Town. The stronger Joja becomes, the closer I move towards bankruptcy. I might have to sell the shop soon." We need to remember that Caroline does not work and doesn't bring in any income. We know that she obviously does a lot of work around the house and has, of course, focused on raising Abigail, but Abigail is an adult now. If Caroline wanted to get a job to help out a little bit, could she? The answer is no. There are no jobs available in Pelican Town. The only jobs available, possibly, would be at Joja Mart. But imagine how bad that would be for Pierre's business if the townspeople saw that his own wife was working at his competitor's store. It wouldn't be worth it. When the bus worked, I'm sure there were plenty of people in Pelican Town that could commute for school or work purposes, but that's been broken down for who knows how long. Pierre is completely supporting his family financially, all by himself. Is Pierre money hungry? Yes, but is it for a decent reason? Absolutely. Times are tough in Pelican Town, and there aren't many other options. This is confirmed through various dialogues from other characters. Times have been tough lately. I got laid off of my job as bus driver. Pam and Clint come into the saloon almost every night. I'd probably go out of business if they stopped coming. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I don't have enough patience. I guess I should try to get patience from the neighboring towns. Business has been slow lately. You should upgrade your tools. I could use the cash. If the local fishing scene got more lively, I might expand the shop's stock. It's not looking good for anyone in Pelican Town, to be honest. Maybe LARPing Mr. Krabs is what Pierre has had to do in order to survive. Let's move on to something else that makes people hate Pierre. He's a liar. We can talk to the villagers of Pelican Town and they can have a dialogue about an item that we sold in the shipping bin. Demetrius, for example, can say to us, "I bought the tastiest horseradish from Pierre's shop the other day. He said he found it himself while exploring the mountains." I didn't know Pierre was such a talented forager. This can happen with various villagers and with various items that you can sell, and the dialogue changes slightly from person to person. Regardless, multiple people will say to us that Pierre took credit for something we grew and sold, which is pretty crazy. Does that make Pierre a liar? Yeah, it absolutely does. Why would he go out of his way to say these things? The only thing I can think of is to boost sales. If people know that he's such a great forager and farmer and produce seller, more people will buy from his shop and he'll make more money. And we already know how desperate he is for money. I wonder how other people in Pelican Town act when we sell them our goods. Speak to Linus randomly and he can say, "So, I stopped by Willie's the other day and bought a fresh sardine. He said you caught it yourself." Oh. So here we have Willie who does buy fish from us and resells it for a marked up price, which is normal and fine for any business, but he never claims he's the original supplier. He gives credit where credit is due. Yeah, I don't really have a defense for Pierre on this one. He could definitely still give us credit and maybe reassure his customers, "Oh, don't worry, I buy only the finest goods from the farmer," and pass it on to you, after I quality check it, of course. And that would literally be a-okay. But he doesn't, because he's got that tunnel vision from making the most profit in getting him and his family out of a desperate situation, which isn't okay, and I'm not excusing it, I'm just giving a little perspective. Concerning his business practices, another thing that people absolutely hate about Pierre is that his shop is closed on Wednesdays. This one is just crazy to me. People are allowed to have days off. I understand it's annoying when he's closed, but it's literally just one day, when everyone should have at least 2 days off a week, and if you ask me, 3 days off a week. And when you finish the community center, he immediately announces that he's now open 7 days a week. Advertisement. Pierre's general store is now open 7 days a week. So I really don't get this one at all, and I don't see how it can make people hate Pierre. Now, the final point I'll touch on today concerning why people hate Pierre so much is that he's a bad father to Abigail. This one is pretty iffy for me. We already know that he does work hard for his family, but a hard worker doesn't make a good father. How does he treat Abigail? Abigail's Six Heart event is telling. We can find Abigail hanging out in the graveyard, and she mentions that she's been practicing with her sword because she wants to go on adventures. We have a friendly conversation with her about adventuring in the mines when all of a sudden Pierre interrupts and says, "I've been looking all over for you. Your mother wants you to come home and help with dinner. What are you doing in the graveyard anyway? This is no place for a young lady. Mind your own business. You think I should be at home cooking dinner because I'm a girl, don't you? You're really stuck in the past, Dad." Abigail and the farmer then run off while Pierre yells, "Come back!" Okay, so this is pretty cringe. Why is Pierre talking to his adult daughter like this? She's allowed to do as she pleases. She can move out, get married to the farmer, and start a family. But two things stick out to me. Your mother wants you to come home and help dinner. What are you doing in the graveyard anyway? Is it Pierre being weirdly misogynistic? Or is it Caroline? And is he being misogynistic like Abigail claims, or is he expecting his child, regardless if he has a son or a daughter, to help the parents at home with domestic chores? Let's look at Caroline for a second. She doesn't like Abigail's non-traditional ways at all. Is it just me, or does Abigail have an unhealthy interest in doom and gloom? maybe I'm just too old to understand. Abby's always had a strange interest in the occult. I'm not sure where she gets it from. Is it just me, or does Abigail play too many video games? Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned. Don't you think Abby would look better with her natural hair color? She used to have light chestnut colored hair. Caroline doesn't like Abigail's fashion choices, her hobbies, or even any of her interests. When I looked into Pierre's dialogues, I really didn't find any where he criticized Abigail for her interests. If y'all know of any, feel free to let me know in the comments. So during Abigail's 6-heart event, we are hearing for the first time from Pierre that he's judging her, asking, "What are you doing in the graveyard anyway?" in a judgmental way. I can understand his perspective a little bit. Like, seriously, what could someone possibly be doing in a graveyard at 9 o'clock at night? If you're not really familiar with goth or occult culture or anything like that, you too would be confused. It is a little bizarre. With all of that said, he could definitely be more supportive of her interests, and he absolutely could be less judgmental. But the whole go home and cook dinner part, I'm pinning that on Caroline. She has way too many dialogues where she is nitpicking at every little thing about Abigail that she doesn't like. And she says all of those dialogues freely. Most of them don't even require high hearts with her. So we can imagine that Caroline is saying kind of judgmental things about her daughter to someone she barely knows, which is crazy to me. Of all of the characters in Stardew Valley, I have to say that my least favorite characters are Morris, Lewis, and Clint. Pierre doesn't even make it on my top 3 list of most disliked characters. I think Pierre can rub a sore spot with us because a lot of us are playing Stardew Valley or any farm sim to kind of escape and forget about the rat race we endure in real life. So when we're reminded of some of the characters we can see in real life, it's off-putting. But I see a product of the system, someone that's trying his best to support his family and ultimately get out of the rat race alive. I conducted a poll in the community tab of the channel and asked y'all, who deserves a redemption arc in Stardew Valley? Pierre or Lewis? If you're not familiar, a redemption arc is a type of character arc in which a character who has been selfish, immoral, or downright villainous makes amends for their mistakes and wrongdoings, usually with a heroic act of sacrifice. Redemption arcs can be tricky to execute, but when done well, they are incredibly powerful and satisfying. At the time of this recording, a whopping 73% of y'all voted for Pierre, while only 27% voted for Lewis. By the way, thank y'all so much for voting in the polls I've been holding. It helps me with my notes for videos and gives me great insight with y'all's perspective. So please keep voting and commenting if you see a poll on your front page of YouTube. It helps a ton. I do want to emphasize that I do think Pierre is kind of scummy for some of these things, but I just don't think he's evil or a downright horrible person. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. I do want to give a special thank you to everyone. The channel just hit 250,000 views and 2K subs, which is actually insane to me. Thank y'all so much for the support. All of the views, subs, likes, and comments have really helped this channel grow, and I'm very excited to keep making Stardew Valley videos for y'all. If you've got a suggestion for the next character analysis or some headcanons that y'all have, be sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to subscribe to catch my next video. I'll be making more Stardew Valley videos, so keep an eye out. See y'all next time. Bye!